Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we meet Charnae Payne, the newly crowned National United Miss 2025-26. She proudly represented her state and now uses her platform to mentor and empower young women. But first, we're joined by Tom Bergeron, a longtime New Jersey journalist and the voice behind BINJE, a print and digital platform covering business, politics, and community news across the state. Tom, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
So before we begin, I have to thank you because you writing about on New Jersey getting the gubernatorial debate, I was glowing for days. Thank you.
Well, listen, I'll say I appreciate it, but in general, I did what a journalist does. You have an upstart news organization, streaming network that won the biggest prize. And I said, I got to find out more about these people. We cover New Jersey. It was in the wheelhouse of what we do. Congratulations to you guys, well-deserved. And listen, you were the story. I just wrote it. So the credit goes to you.
I know, but for recognizing that, I just think was so cool. And On New Jersey won that. That's where the future of media is going, right? Streaming, digital, all of that. In New Jersey, and this is why we created On New Jersey, media is shrinking. And it's already pretty shrunk here in the Garden State. There's only so many outlets. And now here you come with kind of a throwback. Yes, you're in the digital world, but look, you're printing.
And we've gotten great response from printing. We're going to do about one a month. Let's not pretend like we're doing it daily. It is a throwback. It is old school, but we're having great success with it. People love it, so we're going to keep doing it.
Tell us about BINJE.
So BINJE, when people ask me about BINJE, I always say it's not what we cover, but who we cover for. To me, the secret of media, and I've been in it a long time, is to make sure you have your lane. And our lane is the business makers and the thought producers of companies around the state. So we want to present news that if you run a business, it doesn't matter if it's 3 people or 30,000 people, this is going to be news that's interesting to you. What other businesses are doing, what trends are doing, how the politics are impacting the business community. If we can do that, if we can do features on nice places like yourself, other businesses, key people, we're giving a lane of information that other people aren't providing into the business world.
Where do you get your stories from?
So stories are everywhere. At our essence, we're a business journal. So who's hiring and firing, who's coming, who's going, what are the latest trends? That's the bedrock of what we do. After that, our stories come from just observing, walking around, seeing things that are different trends, seeing about companies like yourself that are doing. And I've been doing the business journalism side for about a dozen years, so I'm well connected in the community, so it's lots of texts, lots of emails, lots of calls. Do you know about this? Did you hear about that? And that leads to stories. But really, as you know, it's just keeping your eyes and ears open 24 hours a day.
So you don't sleep, much like myself.
No one in journalism does, ever.
No. Why is your outlet so important?
I think it's important because we're connecting the business leaders and the political leaders. We don't necessarily write about politics, right? There's a lot of people doing the politics lane. The only politics we do is as it impacts the business community. So we'd be more concerned about what the EDA or the Economic Development Authority is doing than what necessarily the governor or the legislature is doing, unless they're talking about a business-focused bill. So the one thing that I think we do is we're a connector. We talk about businesses. It'll give people who are looking to connect with that business a reason to reach out. It'll give them a reason to talk to some of their coworkers and saying, how come they're doing it and we're not? So as much as we're a conduit for information, we're a connector of key people around the state.
And you're hitting people in all the ways people consume media. I get your e-newsletters twice a day. You have an AM and a PM.
Yep.
And I do love that. And it's just packed of information.
That goes back to the non-sleeping part, yes.
Yeah. It's like, I can't believe there's all these business stories happening, but as we know, New Jersey, we're a small but mighty state and there's a ton happening.
It's incredible. I don't know who I should give credit to for the phrase, but New Jersey is the biggest small state or the smallest big state. So because of our geography and because of the impact, you literally can go from top to bottom. So we can cover the whole state. The good news is we can cover the whole state. The bad news is we have to cover the whole state. I mean, but there's 9 million people here. There's a lot going on. There's 1 million businesses. So we always have plenty to write about.
What's the trend you're seeing right now in business?
So the biggest trend in business right now is trying to understand with the upcoming change in administration in January, what is the focus going to be towards the business community? Some of the candidates have said very strongly we're going to be more of a pro-business state. We are, depending on which poll you look at, and the polls take them or leave it, we can be 49th in business unfriendliness. How accurate that is, I don't know. We're an expensive place to do business, but we bring a lot to it, right? We have very, very smart people, no problems finding people. We're connected to the waterways, we're connected to New York, we're connected to Philadelphia. So there's a lot of good reasons to do business here. The cost aspect will always be the biggest issue, and that's what the next administration will deal with.
Do you lobby on behalf of businesses at all with your publication?
I do not. Listen,
You're totally bipartisan.
We're totally bipartisan. We don't have time to be partisan.
Yeah.
We're trying to cover every sector, whether it's healthcare or higher education or economic development. We just move from area to area. Our job is just to produce the news, to print the news, to talk about what's happening and who's doing it. We'll let you decide, but we don't have time to get too involved in that.
Refreshing in this day and age.
And easier, but why would you be any other way? I don't understand why anybody would.
A lot of people are
Some
another
people
way.
do. You know, once you go down road A, then you can't go back to road B. We're going to be right in the middle. It just seems to make the most sense for us.
You're preaching to the choir here, right? And then you could be friends with everybody.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that you've been doing business journalism for over a dozen years. Take us through your very colorful journalistic past.
So like many people, I grew up dreaming of the idea that one day someone could pay me to watch the Super Bowl and become a sports journalist. So I was fortunate enough to get a job at the Star-Ledger right out of college and worked there for more than a decade. I was the high school sports editor, which in New Jersey is like nothing else. And then I was the overall sports editor. So the people who know me as Tom the business guy would be stunned to learn that I was a sports editor at the Star-Ledger for the Giants, for the helmet catch Super Bowl. Everyone in journalism should start in sports. It teaches you to write fast, it teaches you to write accurately, it teaches you to write fairly, but more than that, it teaches you the number one rule of journalism, which is relationships. Right? In other parts of journalism, you might come in on a client or someone you're covering once a month, every 6 months, every year. If you're covering a baseball team or a football team, we're having that interaction every day. So that's going to make, my coverage stronger, but also if I got to look you in the eye after every story I write, it's going to make me a little bit sharper. And you understand in sports journalism that the media and sports, are not the enemies. They're there together, we're there every day, so you build that relationship. And I think that's made me a stronger business journalist because I start with the relationship aspect and then get to the news aspect.
I didn't know this whole sports background that you had. So we were in the press box together during the 2007 season because I was doing Giants radio. I did that for 16 years.
There you go. So a little bit about all of the viewers are learning a little background of you and a little background of me.
Yeah.
Yes, for a long-time sports journalist, but
and there is such a family aspect. You're so right. I mean, even though I haven't been really with the Giants for 5 years, those guys are my family. I mean, we were there every Sunday through thick and thin.
yes.
Like you said, it teaches you a lot to be on your toes, no nonsense.
And it
down
teaches
the
you
middle.
business. You want to talk about big business, do professional sports. You're going to learn more about big business covering professional sports than covering business.
So when did the shift happen away from sports?
So unfortunately, I was at the Star-Ledger in the era where it started to shrink. No fault of their own. I love the Star-Ledger. I love the Newhouses. I love the family. I think they've done journalism a great service. Things were going away differently, so I went and got my internet chops. I worked at Yahoo Sports for 3 years. After that, as I kept going, I have 5 children.
God bless you, by the way. I mean, to
My wife,
have
my
no
wife.
sleep. Yeah, but you're a team player. Come on. To do all of this with 5 children, what are their ages now?
So 28 to 18. So I don't know that I could have done this 10 years ago, but could do it that. But that was sort of the push, as you know, on sports. It's all nights and weekends.
Yes.
Which is great.
That's why I had to give it up.
Right, exactly right. So you transition to something else. Somebody said, you should check out this place called NJ Biz, which I'd never heard of. So I went to NJ Biz. I worked there for a couple of years. I helped to found ROI, and now I've started BINJE.
And what was ROI?
So ROI is a business journal in the same maker of BINJE and NJ Biz. It was sort of my in-between point.
So you've built media companies, left them, rebuilt again. I mean, you probably didn't expect media entrepreneurship to be a part of who you are.
Was not the game plan whatsoever, but it's fascinating. And especially once I started covering business, the line was, after covering entrepreneurs and covering business and learning about their trials and tribulations, why not try it yourself? And it's different than when you just cover someone and they tell you about their business for an hour. Is different than creating one. So it gave me a background, gave me an interest, and said, let me give this a shot.
Who were some mentors of yours?
So a couple of great ones, starting with the Star Ledger, a couple of people. Kevin Whitmer was a huge mentor. The late Chris D'Amico was a huge mentor. Kevin Manahan, who's still there, was a great mentor. I did a couple of years in Kansas City. I don't like to tell people.
Oh.
My wife's from Kansas City, so.
Really? Big Chiefs fan?
Big Chiefs fan, yes, yes. So we.
Back when it wasn't.
Back
good
when
to
they
be a
weren't
Chiefs
so
fan.
good.
Yes.
But we went out there, big house, country, this and that. Didn't take, as we said. 2 years later, we came back. So a guy named Mike Fannin out there was a huge mentor too. Really, as you know in the business, it's a blank job with blank hours and blank pay. But if you want to do it, I'm here to help you. So you find people that are so dedicated to the craft and the profession that if you're smart enough and lucky enough, you can really join with some people early on and they can teach you as much as anyone.
Well, you know what event taught you about media entrepreneurship? 9/11.
So 9/11, and forgive me, I don't mean to trigger people here. I've given this story a lot. 9/11 is a milestone moment, not just for me and everyone in the country, but also for journalism. And I tell this story this way. So I was working at the Star Ledger during 9/11, and I was in the sports department. I was a deputy sports editor at the time. And they immediately called off all sporting events by noon. So what are you going to do in sports? Well, if you're a journalist, you get your butt in the office. So all of us came into the office. One of my proudest moments in journalism, we all got together, put out an afternoon paper of the Star Ledger, I believe the one and only time that they did it. And I like to tell the story that we literally sold it on street corners, 5 o'clock, through people's car windows. And they were so happy. They not only were paying us for the Star Ledger, they were paying us extra. Here's $20. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for covering all that. That media world has changed. You and I now both live in a media world where everyone expects us to do all of that for free. And God forbid, if we ever tried to charge anyone for anything, we would be accused of violating the public trust as opposed to just feeding our families.
Yeah, well, what a great story. And by the way, one of the best things that day, September 11th, Mike and the Mad Dog. Do you remember they went to the studio in Astoria and they did their whole show?
Right.
And it was one of their best shows ever.
Journalism is about connecting news to the people that are consuming it. There's plenty of different venues. There are plenty of different people doing it. On this case, Mike and the Mad Dog bringing it to a whole new audience.
Yeah, you and Mike and the Mad Dog. Look at that. Tom, this was so much fun. Thank you. And I look forward to having you back because we could talk for hours. Where can people find out more about you and BINJE?
BINJE.com, BINJE.com. Twice daily newsletters. Here's the catch. We are free. And our print publication, as you see here, we come out about once a month. That is free too. Sign up. We're happy to share it with people.
Love it. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
At AmeriHealth, we understand what's important to you. It's why we offer some of the lowest cost health plans in New Jersey, with access to one of the state's largest networks of doctors and hospitals. Plus, with free 24/7 virtual care, you can see a doctor anytime and anywhere. And we're committed to giving back to help make a difference in our communities. Learn more at AmeriHealth.com. A health plan for everyone.
Hey New Jersey, want to choose how you live as you age? Tune into AARP New Jersey's new show, The Power of Us, the show that celebrates aging with dignity, purpose, and joy. From protecting yourself against fraud, to staying healthy and aging in place, to finding purpose through volunteering, we've got the tools, tips, and stories to help you thrive. Join us on ONNJ and discover the power of us.
Charnae Payne, National United Miss 2025-26, is also a Wagner College graduate, aspiring medical student, and passionate advocate for young women through her platform, Fuse Your Fire. Charnae is an NJ native and is here to tell us more. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, congratulations on your honor. Love the crown.
Thank you.
Tell us all about your big win.
Yes, so this year I competed as Miss Garden State in Orlando, Florida. It was about a 7-day long competition. We compete in 6 different categories, one being community service, one being on stage introduction, interview, and also high fashion runway and evening gown. Also have different parties throughout the week to mingle. Because we are an international and a national system, we have people coming from all over the country and also outside of the United States. So they make sure that it's truly a week full of mingling and having a good time, but also looking for title holders that can actively represent their system.
Well, they definitely picked, I mean, your beauty brains,
Thank you.
the whole package.
Thank you.
So what was it like to finally achieve your big dream?
It was like breathtaking that I got to do all of that in such a short week time. It felt like all the hard work and dedication that I put in my everyday life, it got to be celebrated in the reflection of a title. But to be honest, the mentorship, that's the biggest part for me. Through my platform, Fuse Your Fire, that's where I mentor young girls who are going into the fields of STEM, entertainment. It's giving them those lifelong skills that they can use in any future career path.
How did you develop this platform?
So yes, at home, I'm actually the oldest of 5 siblings. So the same
God bless
skills,
your parents, by the way.
Yes. It is a lot, but the same skills that I get to instill in my siblings, I get to ignite that same passion in young girls. That's where the fire comes from. So Fuse Your Fire stands for fierce, infrangible, resilient, and empowered. And those are characteristics that I felt like I learned and developed as growing into a woman, and that I wanted to instill in other young girls as they're getting comfortable figuring out their identity and kind of what they want to give back to the world.
I find it so interesting that your platform takes people interested in STEM and entertainment, and you've kind of found a way to mesh them together because they really don't go.
Yeah, no. So I see things as along the way in life, you're going to meet as many people, but it's how you're going to apply the things that you're learning in each phase. So in the world of medicine, I meet people on an everyday basis and I'm learning about their everyday life. It's no different in entertainment. You're meeting people and it's all about who you know in the same field. So it's about giving them the skills to be able to talk to any person and to network. So it's same thing.
Same things, yeah. So are you seeing a lot of unicorns like yourself that do both?
Yes, that do both. Especially in the world of pageantry, I come across so many women that are multifaceted. They're doing so many different things and they're looking for a way to merge that and inspire other people to do that, and that's where pageantry has come into play.
Yeah. So how do you mentor the people on your platform?
So I do a lot of going into schools. I started when I was in college teaching health and sex education to high school students. So I did a lot of giving people the skills that they needed to succeed in making educated decisions about their bodies. So why not do that? That can expand into lifelong skills. So when I moved back home, I decided to go back into my local high school where I could mentor young girls who were interested in the same things that I were in high school. So I got to kind of be that peer mentor that I always needed for those kids that are still searching for their identities and what they want to give back.
And what high school is that?
So Cinnaminson High School. Yes.
Nice, because you're
Yep.
true South Jersey.
True South Jersey.
So you're in
yes.
Nutley right now, so South Jersey is, it's very skewed for us North
Yes,
Jerseyans, but
yes,
you are true.
True South Jersey, yep. Closer to the Pennsylvania, PA side.
Yes.
But yeah, true South Jersey.
So how did you publicize this platform during your pageant win?
Yes, so in interview, we're asked a lot of questions about what we want to give back to the system and how that'll translate into the legacy of not only for us, but what the system encourages. And it's building well-rounded young girls, and that's what they want. So that mentorship piece applied directly into when I was meeting these young girls during pageant week who are still, they may be new to pageantry, but they're also new to figuring out what they want to do with their lives. It applied all week. So during that week that it'll also apply to later when they're coming across people and meeting new people in their phases of life, that they'll realize just even a simple word of encouragement can inspire them to do something great later.
You are such an inspiration.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
So what is your life going to look like over this next year?
Yes, so we do a lot of travel throughout the year from state pageants. We're also afforded the opportunity to do an international trip. And throughout the year, we'll be able to pursue our personal initiatives and also the pageants initiative, which is Be Heroic. And a few of those pillars are honesty, optimism, and community. They're big on building well-rounded girls that are not only succeeding in their careers, but also pouring back into their community.
How about here in New Jersey? What are some of the initiatives you have to do?
So I personally, I like to donate to local food banks. I do a lot of clothing drives to donate to women that are suffering from domestic abuse. I do a little bit of everything just because I feel like there's never one thing you can just focus on. Our country has so many needs, and New Jersey alone has so many needs. So I try to do a little bit of everything.
What are some of the stereotypes that you would like to dispel about the pageant industry?
Yes, that most of the time pageant girls are more than just a pretty face. They have so much going on, not only in their communities, but also their careers and what they're giving back to. As I said before, I've met some of the most accomplished women through pageantry, and they have done so much work not only in their careers, but to pour into their communities, to young leaders. So I really want people to see that pageantry is more than just a pretty face.
Yeah.
You are meeting the most educated and well-rounded people that you may ever meet in your life. So.
Yeah. So bigger picture, after your reign is up,
Yes.
what's next for you?
So I'm actually applying to med school. My goal ever since I told my mom when I was 6 is that I wanted to become a doctor, and I have never steered clear from that path, but I've added on things that would make me a well-rounded doctor. Post my undergrad education, I worked in a private practice. Because it was COVID, I couldn't work a lot in hospitals, so I ended up working with a doctor who was an oral maxillary surgeon, and he did anything from the head to the neck down, so I got to see a little bit hands-on what it's like being a doctor running your own practice. That's what I ultimately want to do, and have a plastics practice, but it'll Yes.
Wow, I'll come see you when
yes.
things start to go downhill,
Yes.
right?
I want it to pertain also aesthetics and holistic medicine, so you get both sides and both pieces.
I love that you want to combine plastics with holistic medicine. Again, two worlds that don't really go together, but you're kind of the master at that.
Yeah, so I want people to realize when you're going through different things, sometimes it's the lifestyle you need to change. It's not always a prescription that's going to fix it. That maybe overall lifestyle orientation and trying things in a different way can ultimately better your health.
I totally agree.
Yes.
And you're doing all of this while also modeling for QVC.
Yes.
There's a lot of QVC shoppers that watch us, so I want to shout that out.
Yes, yes. So actually, that's where I started my modeling career. When I moved back home, I met an agent, and she was like, I think you would be great for QVC. And then I randomly get in a call like, hey, we're ready for you to start practicing on air and doing trainings. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is it. And I've been there the past 4 years, and I've been having an amazing time. I've gotten to meet celebrities that I never thought I'd meet, from Martha Stewart to Scarlett Johansson. So
wow.
Yeah, everyone's at QVC right now.
Well, you know what? They should be looking up to you, though. You're the celebrity because your resume is just something else.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, where can people find out more about you and to trace your steps over this next year and beyond?
Yes, so my social media is National United Miss. I'll be posting all things IUM there, and my personal social media is Charnae Marie. That's where you'll see more of my modeling career and how I'm juggling being a pageant queen, applying to school, and all of these things at once.
Well, you'll accomplish anything you set your mind to.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.
Hey, New Jersey, want to choose how you live as you age? Tune into AARP New Jersey's new show, The Power of Us, the show that celebrates aging with dignity, purpose, and joy. From protecting yourself against fraud, to staying healthy and aging in place, to finding purpose through volunteering, we've got the tools, tips, and stories to help you thrive. Join us on ONNJ and discover the power of us.
At AmeriHealth, we understand what's important to you. It's why we offer some of the lowest cost health plans in New Jersey, with access to one of the state's largest networks of doctors and hospitals. Plus, with free 24/7 virtual care, you can see a doctor anytime and anywhere. And we're committed to giving back to help make a difference in our communities. Learn more at AmeriHealth.com. A health plan for everyone.